I forgot to move my camera. Hello. Hi. Howdy, folks. I'm trying to decipher this, Klaus. Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. There we go. That's good. He's as a vocal warm up. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. Hello there, Mr. Green Wizard. Welcome back. I hope the Circle of Knowing has treated you well, and they haven't sent you on any shit assignments recently. So, as it says on the tin, we're hopefully going to be finishing these Fishmen tonight. I would very much like to be done with them. I've enjoyed painting them, but I'm ready to move on to other things. So, off stream, last time, when we did the base coat on all the barnacles, after the stream was over, I did a little testing with some contrast paint on a couple of them, just to see what it would look like. And so this is what we got so far. So this is the contrast. These are the ones with the contrast paint. I like what it did. It kind of seeps in all the cracks and helps like define these little barnacles, especially on these big guys, a little bit more. And then also, it kind of like brings down the color by just a little bit. So I'm going to finish off doing that before I get started with the next coloring step, which is going to be to finish off the color on the barnacles. Then we're going to do the eyes. I think we need to just where my camera is. There we go. And we are using, for our contrast paint, Skeleton Horde. That's what we're using. I don't often use this stuff. Definitely not as a base coat, because I'm not one that tends to do a lot of like the zenithal highlighting and things like that. I've done it before. And I never can quite get the contrast paint to work the way I want it to. But for applications like this, I find it very useful. Because all it is just a very thinned down paint. That basically the way it works is that it's formulated so that it's going to go into all those deep crevices and bring out the details and leave like a little thin coat of color on it. I think contrasts are basically like just really fancy shades, but I'm sure there's more to it than that. And because all a shade is a watered down paint, pretty much. Just watered down to the point where it's nearly completely transparent. So that's where we are. We did the barnacles, all the fins last time, and we base coated the barnacles, I should say. We did our first coat of color on them. then we also did all the fins and stuff. Thank you, Green Wizard, for the sound alert. It scared the bloody dickens out of me. It's fine. They always do. Hope everybody's having a good day, good night. Klaus, I hope you're having a good Friday. Mr. Future Man. Mr. Green Wizard, I hope you are having a fine Thursday evening. Or whatever day it happens to be where you are. Could be Wednesday for all I know. I don't know how the past works. Very nice. Very nice. Good to know. Good to know. This is actually the one that you helped color, Green. We went with because we did the blue on the tentacles, sort of the bluish green. I decided to go with kind of a gray for his a bluish gray for his body, so he kind of looks like a dead bloated corpse. I'm doing this guy first because he's going to be the most tedious because I have to add the most contrast paint to him. Excellent, thank you very much. Oh man, I will be so glad to move on to something else, but I'm always like that when I reach the end of when I reach the end of a, like, you know, squad project. I'm always kind of grateful that I can move on and do something else afterwards, but I'm always very proud of the work that I've done. Because you put so much time and effort into it, you're ready to see it finished. It's not like you never want the work to end. You are ready to finish it. But the key is to not get so excited that you're ready to finish it that you get sloppy at the end. I've made that mistake so many times, let me tell you. I made that mistake plenty of times where you go into a project, or you're at the very end of a project and you're thinking, oh, I'm almost done, I'm almost done, I'm almost done. Let's just cross this finish line and get finished with it. You know, so I can move on to the next thing. And then you manage to screw up something at the like right at the end. Right at the end. These are for my personal collection, Klaus. I only paint stuff for me. I don't have any commission clients, at least not at the moment. I haven't decided if I was going to take any either. So, you know, it's but yep, these are just for me. All right, so we'll put that one aside, and the rest of them that have barnacles on them, there's all of them. They don't have that many barnacles. It really is just a matter of like, I honestly don't have to do this on these. I'm doing it just because I want to be consistent in their color. Yeah, no, it's commissions are fine. And like, you know, I have nothing against commissions. I just for me it's like, if I do commissions, I have to do them in a very specific way. Because I think that I have enough availability to do like single model commissions, or maybe like single squad commissions. But like whole board games or whole armies, I mean, come on. definitely don't have time for that. I mean, you can, but it also can give you money. So there's that too. My opinion on resin model kits or conversion kits. I mean, I think resin is fine. It really depends on the resin, because not all resin is created equally. But for the most part, I mean, like, you know, as long as the models that you have in the resin kit are well made, they don't have any like weird bubbles or anything in there, I mean, I think they're a little more difficult to work with when it comes to like plastic, but you just have to, there may be like a few extra steps, like you might want to wash the resin model off before you start priming it or something, because there could be flashing on it. So, but I mean,
you have reached the voicemail box of Kino.
Plastic model kits are by far and away the easiest to work with, I think. And they also are the most detailed. But for some reason, they're also the most expensive. So.
Just wait for the tone.
I honestly think that 3D printed resin is, yeah, the resin dust.
The person you're trying to reach is not available right now.
I think that 3D printed resin it actually is pretty darn good. I use I have an Elegoo Mars 5,
If you need further assistance,
and
pound
I
now.
got some of this yes, well, I mean, obviously. You wouldn't use plastic to make dice. Not unless you were a crazy person. But like here, I'll show you an example while these are drying. I got this 8K, it's called 8K resin for the printer, and these are some Heroscape models that I got off of Thingiverse for my younger brother. My younger brother plays Heroscape, not HeroQuest. Heroscape is a different game. It's kind of like Babby's first Warhammer, honestly, but it's not bad. It's a pretty simple game system, and yeah, it's been it was out of print. Yeah. But yeah, come on. There we go. Sorry, I just a little bit of things like. So for instance, like this is 3D printed resin. And this looks pretty good. It's not bendy. It's got some decent details. These models are have very shallow details anyway. So they're kind of they're not the best to see, like, you know, see like things like that, but like the basic gray resin is very different. when you look at like the amount of detail that you get on this one versus the detail you get on this one. So you can definitely tell there's a big difference. Like this is like armor plated arm is a perfect example. Like you can actually see a lot of the segments on this, whereas like on this one they're all like, you know, kind of full, blended in. But yeah, so it looks, I mean, it looks pretty good to me. Let's see. You were planning on buying a resin conversion kit for your Gundam PG Zaku 2 Char, or buy a resin printer and print out the parts myself. I don't think you'll run into any problems with that. So long as you have a good 3D printer. Yeah, I don't think you'd run into really any problems with that. I think that if you have I'll just say the one that I have again, the Elegoo Mars 5, and it works pretty well. Does take a little bit of practice and fiddling with the settings to find the one that works for you. Find the ones that work for you. I recommend that 8K resin that I was talking about. So you're getting like nice crisp details and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, I've never put together a Gundam kit, but I can imagine that they might be relatively thin plastic, because, well, the Gundam armor plates are kind of thin. Yeah. But the cool thing about learning on a 3D printer that you own is that if you mess up your first print, you can go back and be like, okay, what did I do wrong? And try again. All right, let's get our next layer on for our barnacles. We're gonna be using Talarn sand. Let's get out our model holder, shall we? Yeah, a bajillion video tutorials on YouTube might actually be useful in that situation. I'm just going through and adding a little bit of this sand up here to help them pop. So the barnacles aren't completely just one flat color. I guess technically they're two colors, but I don't think the contrast really counts. Hydrate. Okay, Klaus. Have fun whacking your weeds, if that's what they call it now. I hear you, man. I'm not going anywhere for the next couple hours, so. Yeah. No, I call it weed whacking too, Klaus. I was making a joke. That instead of actually going to do your weed whacking, you were going to do something inappropriate. That was my attempt at humor. As for what that inappropriate thing could be, well, it could have something to do with weed or something to do with whacking. I'll let you fill in the blanks. Yeah. This was my attempt at humor. Oh, why do I do this to myself? Alright, I think I got that highlight on all of it. I think I might have missed this shoulder actually. No, I got it. Just didn't show up very well. I have this problem where I want everything to look so nice, and I refuse to take shortcuts to do it. Because I don't think the shortcuts look as nice.
She's got a lot of talent there.
I thought you'd think so. I was a model back in Texas.
Oh, today was an unusual day. But after this, there'll be no more distractions.
That is a good, that is a really good image there. One of these guys just laying on the beach, and then some hapless adventurer stumbles across it. It springs up and just demolishes him in his fanged maws. Do you think the Fishmen abominations would be willing to eat chili? Probably. Depends on what's in the chili. Actually, what am I saying? They wouldn't care if fish was in the chili. They're probably cannibals. Just look at them. They probably would eat anything. Yeah, I think, I mean, that would be good for the fishmen. They need their beans, probably. I don't imagine they have a very high fiber diet. Could you imagine what Fishman farts smell like? Can you say that 5 times fast? Fishman farts? Fishman farts, 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 Fishman farts. That's hard. That's true. They may have a very high fiber diet. Maybe these fishmen are constantly pooping. I mean, fish do that, right? All right. One final highlight on these barnacles after I do these other guys. They don't have as many of these, but I'm trying just to like kind of catch the edge of the barnacles without having to go too crazy on the details. Because these barnacles are not something I want to spend a ton of time on. I've already spent more time on them than I wanted to. Fish are just, I mean, fish are just gross. The ocean is probably one of the most disgusting places on the planet. It is literally the toilet of the entire world. I mean, everything runs off into there. Which is why there's a giant island of plastic floating in the ocean. Good luck meeting SpongeBob. There used to be Nickelodeon themed theme parks where your dream could come true, but I don't think those exist anymore. And I agree about Plastic Island. It's a great, great album. have no way of knowing, Green. I don't know the gorilla's lore well enough. I'm a fake fan at best. One day I did like a deep dive on like Wikipedia to like get like the general story of the gorillas, and I just jettisoned it all afterwards. Just because I heard that it was deep, but I was just like, this is too much for me. I just can't retain it. All right. One final highlight, and then we're moving on. Yeah, I think I filled up on my head with Lord of the Rings lore. That's about as high as I as much as I like sort of keeping there. That sounds right. I mean, I know the song Cracker Island. I think the music video has them like joining a cult or something. So yeah, that sounds accurate. We're going to use Skeleton Legion as our final highlight color. Radagast the Brown being the best option. Yeah, that's the name of the paint. Radagast the Brown being the best option for the ring bearer. I don't think that he was. I mean, he's just as vulnerable to the temptations of the ring as anybody else. If he were given the ring and not told anything of its significance, even look about Klaus. Even if he didn't know anything about it, the ring would still tempt him because it has a will of its own. It wants to be found, and Radagast is would be quite the powerful vessel, because he's on the same level as like Gandalf and Sauron and Saruman. They're all Maya, and you would probably succumb to would probably succumb to its temptations and doom all of Middle-earth. Because Sauron would have been able to exert his will through the ring and control him to his ends. Oh, you gotta love that.
And his name is John C.
Thank you for that. Great. If the wizard that you're referring to that was immune to the effects of the ring, if you're talking about Tom Bombadil, Tom Bombadil's not a wizard. What is Tom Bombadil? Yeah, you just treat that sunburn and don't get too badly burned there, Klaus. Tom Bombadil is just Tom Bombadil. He's old Tom Bombadil. He is a merry fellow. Bright blue his jacket is, and his boots are yellow. Ring-a-dong, ring-a-dong, ring-a-dong dillo. Hey ho, merry dole, it's Tom Bombadillo. Yeah, Tolkien put him in there for whimsy, pretty much. That was it. I mean, like, doesn't have any great significance to the story. And he was a character from bedtime stories he used to tell his daughters. And he just thought it would be fun to put him in there. So he did. But, you know. They also talk about in the book why he wouldn't have been a good ring bearer either. They actually discuss it at the council. Because they're like, you know, looking for other ways to get rid of the ring. Because taking it to Mount Doom is absolutely insane. But they were like, you know, hey, can't we just, like, if this Tom guy is immune to its effects, can't we just leave it with him, you know? If he doesn't want to take it? And Gandalf tells them, he's like, I know this Tom. he most likely would lose track of it. And he wouldn't care that he misplaced it, because the ring doesn't have any great significance to him. And so it would probably end up in the hands of the enemy, because he would lose it and not really care about it. Because that's just his way, man. It's just not his thing. And he also isn't going to leave his domain. So, he's not a... Yeah, he's not really interested in anything but hanging out in the woods and taking care of his wife, the old river daughter. Aloe vera ointment is a good thing for your sunburn there, Klaus. But yeah, that is Tom Bombadil in a nutshell. He was just a character from bedtime stories that he used to read his daughters. He has his own book, The Adventures of Tom Bombadil. I've never read it, but these are like collections of like stories and things like that. He used to tell his daughters when they were young. They were bedtime stories, basically. I mean, The Hobbit was effectively written to be like a fairy tale, so Tolkien loved like fairy tales and stuff like that. And Tom Bombadil was just a bit of wisdom, or a bit of whimsy and enchantment that he introduced into the world of Middle-earth. So it's very cool. Very cool thing to do. Just to add a little bit of enchantment to the world. And has no explanation, needs no explanation kind of thing, you know? It was a world before everybody had their theories on the internet that they shared with everyone. I'm sure people who like talk amongst themselves and discuss the books had all these like theories as to who Tom Bombadil was. And that was their theory, and that they could hold on to that. Oh, you're talking about chili crisp. Yeah, I never had it myself, but I hear that it's very tasty. Here I am just talking about Lord of the Rings, and you guys are talking about delicious food. I do love talking about Lord of the Rings, though. One of my favorite things about Lord of the Rings is I got more lore. One of my favorite things about Lord of the Rings is that in the first edition of The Hobbit, the way that Bilbo got the ring was very different. Gollum did give it to him, like as like a reward for winning the riddle contest. So that was in the first printing of The Hobbit. That was the actual story. Is that Bilbo won the riddle contest, and Gollum openly gave him the ring. But when he started writing Lord of the Rings and he decided that the ring was going to be of great importance, he rewrote the scene to what it is today. And he explained in the foreword of the Lord of the Rings he explained in the foreword of the Lord of the Rings that the reason why the first story was the way it was just because Bilbo lied. And so Bilbo lied, and so he had to fix it, which is funny. Why are orcs in The Hobbit called goblins at times, and why does the movies leave that out? Well, that is because they were goblins in The Hobbit. Goblins and orcs are two different things. There were goblins in The Hobbit, and they were orcs in The Lord of the Rings. And they left that out in the movies probably just because they wanted to avoid confusion with the audience. They don't really run into any goblins in the books in Lord of the Rings. There were goblins in Moria in the movie, but those goblins weren't in the book. Because goblins are in the deeper parts of the world, like caves and stuff like that. Really? I didn't know that one. The first description, or the first depiction of Smeagol pissed Tolkien off so much he had to rewrite the description. That's interesting. I didn't know that one. What was that? What was he? Did he originally? What was the first depiction of him? I guess there were been like some illustrated versions of the Hobbit that maybe. A big lumbering beast. The person who drew Moomin drew Smeagol as a big lumbering beast with big ol' eyes. Ah! Very interesting. Didn't know that. That's cool though. I have to look up that depiction. See if we can find it. I love talking about Lord of the Rings. I don't know if that's come across yet. What else do you want to know about? Hit me. Hit me with some Lord of the Rings lore questions. If I know the answer, I will give you the answer. Yeah, I'm a vast repository for useless knowledge, especially when it comes to Lord of the Rings, so you'll have to forgive me. Okay, I think we're done with the barnacles on the two big barnacle boys. Woo! Hooray! How much do I know of the in-depth lore of the Hobbit holes in Hobbiton, New Zealand? I mean, I know that it exists. I've never been. I want to go desperately. But I'm so glad that you did that. He did re-describe him. He must have felt like, I guess I didn't do a very good job to begin with. It's good to know that even Tolkien messes up sometimes. But I know that it exists, Klaus. I've never been. I really want to go. I know that hobbits live in holes. I know that hobbits didn't always live in the Shire. I know that hobbits came. That's very cool. You should go sometime and make me feel jealous. Hobbits came to the Shire. And there were actually 3 separate groups of hobbits that came. I don't think they came in this particular order. I'll have to brush up on my own memory. But the Harfoots, the Fallowhides, and the Stewers were the three groups of hobbits. They all came from different places, and they kind of just converged on this area known as the Shire. I made it their own. And it was largely kept safe by the Dunedain Rangers, watching its borders and keeping any sort of like big threats from making their way over there. But for everyone else who existed in Middle-earth, they just didn't really think about what was over there because they had no reason to go there. Technically, they were under the rule of the kings in the north, but they never really paid them any mind. And there are some records of them hobbits being sending like a unit of bowmen, of hobbit bowmen to a war at some point, but what could it be? But you know, they don't. Nobody remembers what the war was about, and they're kind of not worried about it anymore. Do I think that the Ringwraiths tried to defy Sauron and protect Bilbo? No, absolutely not. The Ringwraiths have no will of their own. They're completely empty creatures. They have no substance to them, literally. They are just spirits, effectively, that are unable to pass on because the will of Sauron and his ring is what's keeping them tethered to this reality. I think if they wanted to defy the orders of Sauron, they couldn't, because their rings, the 9 rings, were completely under the control of Sauron, and men turned out to be very easily manipulated by the ring, and not all of the men who took the 9 rings of power that were offered to them were evil necessarily. They were just men. They were good, they were bad, but they were fallible, just like all men are, and they had their reasons for taking them because they were offered to them as a means of preserving themselves, preserving their legacies, their kingdoms, helping themselves live longer, and giving them the strength to rule their respective kingdoms as they could. But as we know, they were all of them deceived, because what Sauron's ring does, and we're done with the barnacles, by the way, completely. We're not touching them anymore. What the Ring of Sauron does, the Ring of Power, is basically that it offers the bearer the control of, to be able to control the wills of the other ring wielders, and also it only works for Sauron because he poured his own essence into it. The dwarves were privy. They didn't know the rings. Didn't know of the rings, of course. They had their own rings. The 7 rings. Or no, it was 5. 5. Is it 5 or is it 7? I can never remember how many they gave to the dwarf lords. I think it was 5. I think it was 5 rings, but whatever. The rings of the dwarf lords. Yeah, it turned out that they were a little more difficult to control because they had a desire for material wealth above all. And dwarves are also notoriously stubborn. So well, I would say, Klaus, that the Horcrux is kind of like J.K. Rowling's version of the One Ring. But the dwarves, they never really like when the dwarves who got the rings of power, their rings of power, were incredibly wealthy. But they never really felt the influence of Sauron as much as the race of men, because it's just not their nature. They cared about material wealth more than anything. Which was also their largest, or their biggest weakness, but you know. So they, but most of the rings of the 7 were, or the 5, I keep saying 7, the 5 were lost. Whether it was deep underground or down the stomachs of dragons. But they were less affected by the will of Sauron just because of their, basically of them being hard-headed. I believe both of those things, Green. I know that the woman who wrote, I can't think of her name off the top of my head, who wrote Twilight. I know that she says that she got the idea for Twilight. By the way, we're using Dark Sun Yellow to do the eyes. I know she says she got the idea for Twilight after she had a dream about a girl talking to a vampire. But starting out as a Harry Potter fanfic makes so much sense to me. I did know the thing about the 50 Shades of Grey. And I've never read it, but I've heard other people read it to make fun of it. And I can definitely see how it was a Twilight fan fiction. Because it's written like a fan fiction. Because it ain't good. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I thought Twilight was bad when it came out, and I thought 50 Shades of Grey was bad when it came out. I never read the book, but I had an ex-girlfriend at the time who drugged me to the movie. And after I watched the movie, I was just like, wait, is anything going to happen in this movie? Like, literally nothing is happening in this movie. One of your teachers wrote a super popular fanfic and is getting royalties because it became canon? I'm sorry, Klaus. Do you need to talk to someone? An adult, maybe? No, I get it. Yeah, what is the fanfic, Green? I see. That's true. It's very funny. Yeah, I was just reading all that. I'm not big into fan fiction, period. It's just not my jam. I think it's perfectly fine if people want to write stories about fictional characters that they like. I think it kind of, the fan fiction about real people kind of, I think, oversteps a few boundaries. And, I mean, let's be honest. A lot of fan fiction is just about your favorite characters having sex. Or celebrities having sex. So, I mean, you know, I guess if that's your jam, then fine. Not my jam. I don't really care about my favorite characters having sex. But that's just me. I'm also a 30-year-old man. Well, 35. I won't. You can't make me, Alec. I don't really like it either, Green. Alec, on the other hand, he loves it. Can't get enough of it. That was sarcasm. I hope that came across to everyone. I'm sorry, Klaus, but thank you for the money. I understand. It's okay. One day you will, and that's all that matters. Or you won't. It's no real worry. I mixed ice yellow with the evil sun yellow, or dark sun yellow, or whatever. And this will be our last bit for the eyes. We're just adding a little bit of a brightness to them. I appreciate that. I appreciate that Travis says that he'll be here when he can be. And I also appreciate that he's a 1-1 A 1/1 black and white creature token with flying. I am going to... In response... I mentioned this to you in our group text, Alec, but I'll tell the stream at large this. I found a huge amount of my old Magic the Gathering cards at my parents' place today. I went there to help my dad with some computer issues, and I went up in the attic because I thought they might have... He needed a cable, and I thought I might have had an old one left behind up there. And I didn't, but I found a box that said Magic the Gathering cards, and sure enough, all my old Magic the Gathering cards were up there. I have a bunch, but this was my old collection from back when I was in high school. An old red mana card. I've got so many of them. Well, I found my Dark Ritual, Alec. Which apparently was a common when it was printed. I'll go grab a couple of them just to show off a little bit of what I have in there. I found Dark Ritual. Well, a single cost black or 1 black for 3 floating black mana. It's pretty ridiculous. That's also a good one. I'm looking at what I have right now. Some of these are pretty okay. Should have left out that Dark Ritual when I found it. It's probably in here. Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely is. So I think there it is. Okay, I found it. Okay. All right. And the other thing I'll show you is I thought was hilarious because it was it's a very old it's a 7th edition card. It's a rare, but I guess this is what passed for as a rare in 7th edition, which is hilarious. So yeah, this is yep, here I am. I did not have any Black Lotus. I'm not that old. I started playing back in like 2003, I want to say, so over 20 years ago. This is Dark Ritual. This is from the original. This is the original printing of Dark Ritual. This is from Mercadian Masks. As you can see, this was a common. It is tap 1 black for 3 black. Which is fantastic. But I think I was watching Tolarian Community College, him Mark Rosewater on for a Shuffle Up and Play, and I think he talked about Dark Ritual, how it's too good of a card, and yeah. And the next one, this one is a good card. This was an uncommon from Mirrodin. This is the first set that I played that came out while I was playing. It's a 2-cost artifact. It was uncommon. When Isochron Scepter comes into play, you remove an instant card with converted mana cost 2 or less in your hand from the game. The removed card is imprinted on the artifact. And then you can tap 2 and tap this artifact at any time to copy the imprinted instant card and play the copy without paying its mana cost. So this is a really good card. But yeah. But this was I thought this was hilarious because this was a rare in 7th edition. It's a 6/6 creature. It doesn't do anything, and it costs 7 mana to play. And this is a rare. Why, I ask you? It's a 6/6 for 7. It doesn't even do anything. There you go. A rare nothing burger. That would be a common in Magic the Gathering today. So yeah, there's more. I started playing in 2003. That was my freshman year of high school, and I had a friend of mine who had a bunch of old cards that he gave me, and I believe Dark Ritual was in that collection of cards. So I mean, like, I didn't play during Mercadian Masks, but you know. That's cool. I'd never had that card. We're gonna start in the teeth and claws. Our first color is where did I put it? Oh, why did I put it over there? Our first color is Dust Bowl. I was gonna do it downward spacing, but I can't do it. Yeah, it's a very useful little tool. Vortex mixer. And this particular one wasn't that expensive, if I remember correctly. You need to talk to me about the Lorwyn cards that I may or may not have. Okay. I have a bunch of Lorwyn cards from the pre-release, and that's about it. I haven't. It's too expensive for me to buy more. As much as I would like to.
I saw it when I walked, boy.
You feel a certain amount of spite when some people show off their new Black Lotus cards. I understand that. I think that I don't know. I think that Blizzard should reprint the Power 9. There, I said it. I said Blizzard, I meant Wizard. I think Wizards should reprint the Power 9. And here's my reason why. This is a hot take, I know. Jesus. That's crazy, Green. But they should reprint the Power 9. And they should do it not like in a standard set or anything like crazy like that. But they should just let, you know, they should reprint them in like a not a secret lair, but like a standalone release. And the reason why is I don't think any single piece of cardboard should be worth that much money. Because at that point, it goes from being at that point, it goes from being a game about collecting and playing the game to a commodities thing, which is what we see with Pokemon now. It's all about commodities. It's all people buying Pokemon packs in order to find the next chase rare that they can sell and make a ton of money off of it. And that's not what card games are supposed to be about. Card games are supposed to be about collecting and playing the card game. Exactly. Anything that's over a certain dollar threshold, I think that they should reprint. And just to undercut the scalpers and the, like, you know, and honestly to like completely like undercut the whole grading process, because that's a huge scam. Oh gosh, I understand. But back to what I was saying. Yeah, I think that Wizards of the Coast should actively discourage like some of that stuff that are some of the hugely priced cards in the secondary market, because they don't make any money off of it. So like it doesn't, I mean, like, it doesn't benefit them any. Like, for instance, with this Hobbit set that's coming out, I think personally it would be hilarious if they said, hey, you know that one ring that we only printed one of in the Lord of the Rings set? We're gonna print another one. I think that would be hilarious, because that immediately undercuts the value of that card that Post Malone paid like millions of dollars for. I would absolutely love it. Because I think that that sort of thing goes against the spirit of the game. Because even if, like, I mean, I think it's fine to, like, include, to like, make something that's, like, super, like, you know, hard to obtain. A super rare, super good card. Like the One Ring. And you make, like, one special one, which is what they did. And say, like, hey, we're only making one of these. It's going to be great. You know, the one lucky person is going to find this card. And then have that one lucky person find it. That's fine. But the problem with today's society now is that it immediately becomes about a commodity. Because the value of that one particular card skyrockets due to scarcity. And because now, since Magic the Gathering isn't just some fun game that you play with your friends, now Magic the Gathering is a commodity. Yeah, Post Malone. Not postage stamps. Yeah, now that Magic the Gathering is a commodity because people are buying and selling it, that turns this chase into, oh, if I find this thing, I'm set for life, you know? But yeah, I hate that. I hate that concept. I mean, like, I'm all about collecting and having rare stuff, but there's no way in hell that the person who found the One Ring was gonna be like, no, I'm keeping this. This is mine forever, and I'm not gonna tell anybody that I found it. I'm just gonna keep it for me. Because we exist in a world where you, as a normal person, if you find something that rare, and a rich person with millions of dollars comes up to you and says, hey, I'll buy that from you for $1.3 million. You, as a regular person who has presumably a job, a mortgage, probably a few student loans as well, there's no way in hell that you're not going to say, no, I don't think so. I'm keeping this. This is for me. It's part of my collection. I'm never selling it. And because I value the collectible above the price you're willing to pay. There's no way that was going to happen. So what Blizzard just basically did was they created a golden ticket competition. I keep calling them Blizzard. What Wizard basically did was they created a golden ticket competition that whoever won it was going to get like millions of dollars. And Wizard doesn't see any benefit or, like, you know, kickback from that other than the fact that people are buying tons of boxes. Yep, it really does. But yeah, Green, I wanted to get the Final Fantasy cards too. I would have loved to have gotten a box. I missed the pre-release. It's all so freaking expensive. But at least Vivi came down in price because now he's not, because now he's banned in standard. So, but yeah, it completely takes. I'll climb down off my soapbox, but it completely just takes the joy out of collecting and buying booster packs. If your first thought when you open up a box of Magic the Gathering was, okay, how much value am I getting out of this? How much monetary value am I getting out of this? You know, it's sad. And not, hey, I got some really good cards that I'm going to add to my deck. Yeah, the Pokemon TCG is pretty dead. At least like in the physical space. I know that Pocket TCG is kind of popular, but like people like I never see anybody playing the actual game, the actual Pokemon trading card game. I just see like finance bros online opening up packs. And I know that the Target where I live stopped selling booster packs for a little while because grown men were fighting over them in the parking lot. So I also know that Costco was selling we're selling like these boxes of like these Pokemon boxes of like trading card games or like trading cards. And I went in there and I saw that they literally had an attendant whose job was to stand at these boxes of Pokemon trading cards and make sure that whoever came to buy them only took one. Because other stores were having scalpers come in and just like buying like all of their stock so they could resell it. Hydrate? I don't have any water, so I'm just gonna have to drink my cherry Coke. Yeah, I mean, it's just sad, honestly. I mean, like, because, like, the Pokemon trading card game is a card game for kids. But since there are a few disaffected millennials out there who realize they could turn it into a commodities game, it's become, like, basically just that. I think Pokemon is guilty of it a little more than like a Magic the Gathering, I'll say. And that, I mean, that might be me being like a little biased. But like, when I look at a person who's like opening up Magic the Gathering cards and they get to the rare in their in their booster, they at least still read it to see like, oh, it's like, oh, what is this? Was like, what does this do? Like, what is the effect on this card? And people will read the card and say, oh, that's a good card, or oh, that's a bad card, or like, why is this card rare, or whatever. So at least like the game is still like in their mind when they're opening these packs, and the monetary value isn't it. With Pokemon cards, I just see them like they open up a bunch of they open up a pack and they shuffle through the cards, and they hold up like one that looks like it's got like full art or whatever, like an expensive card, and they're just like, oh, look at that, look at that, and look at that, and I'm like, well, what does it do? Like, what does the card do? You don't even seem to care about what it does. So why are you so excited about pulling it? Oh, because it's worth a lot of money. Gotcha. Yeah, exactly. How does it work? Yeah, Green, I saw the other day, like, I'm on some Discord channels for some local game stores. And they were talking about One Piece TCG. And I love One Piece. And I was thinking about, like, you know, I was like, oh, like, maybe I'll check out the TCG, see if it's any good. And then I looked and I was like, I don't know I don't know anything about the card game at all. But they were showing a card that they pulled from a pack, and it was worth like $1,200. And it was like, you're joking with me. Like, I don't even know what makes this card so expensive. It's got a picture of Sanji and Zoro on it. I mean, it looks cool. But like, why is it so expensive? Is it really, really good? You know? I mean, nobody told me. So, like, I was like, well, guess I just won't play this one then. Yeah, exactly. It's rare because it's expensive because Sanji and Zoro hate each other. And they're on the card together. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is scalped way less because the card game has become so weird. Like, the Yu-Gi-Oh! That I played when I was in middle school is completely different from the Yu-Gi-Oh! That you play now. Yeah, I agree with you, Klaus. The question you should ask is not how much is this card worth, but how good is this card in the game? Like, is this card gonna fit in my deck? Could I make a deck around this card? Those are the questions you should be asking yourself. But then if you just focus on having fun, then the company that makes that game isn't going to be making $1 billion, and their CEO won't be able to afford another increase to their salary. So can't have that. Can't have them making fun stuff. We need to make them make profitable things. Gothenburg, go Flamingo. Nothing but dragons, yeah. I think that's how everybody made decks back when I played Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was a kid. Gothenburg, welcome. Talking about trading card games. Just kind of got on that topic. And we were talking about how I was talking about, I guess, you know. Yeah. Did you know that playing Pot of Greed lets you draw 2 cards?
I saw it when I walked, boy.
That's pretty impressive, though, honestly. I don't remember what my Yu-Gi-Oh deck was like. I think I had one that I focused on warriors. But, like, you know, this was when I was a child, so it wasn't a good deck. Yugi 100% spam Pot of Greed. I'll play Pot of Greed. It allows me to draw 2 cards from my deck. Which is pretty powerful in any game, just completely for free, just drawing 2 cards. It is almost his catchphrase. One of my favorite memes about the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series is that Yugi played Dark Magician all the time, and people are like, dude, think. Summon Skull is the same amount of attack points for 1 sacrifice. And yet you play Dark Magician all the time. And my favorite argument that people make about that is that, Well, Dark Magician has more utility play. I was like, well, not when the anime first came out. When did that happen? Exodia was always a trap win condition back in the day. You had to completely build your deck around it. Yeah, well, the anime also had a lot of weird stuff like attacking the moon to destroy the, or to get rid of the ocean. My hands are shaking like crazy. I think it's funny. I was watching a video yesterday about it just shows you the synchronicities of life. About the video game Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories for the PlayStation. And I did not realize that that particular game, the video game, came out before the rules for the physical card game had been finalized. That explains why it plays nothing like the original card game. Just about done with this first thing of teeth and claws. Then we've got a couple more colors we're going to use there. I am not going to finish these Fishmen tonight. I fibbed. I will not finish the Fishmen because it's already 11:30. Sorry about the ads, but thank you for the money. checking something real quick. Gothenburg, did you follow the channel? I didn't see the alert come up. But thank you for the follow. Thank you, Klaus. Well, yeah, Green, you were referring to Season 0. It's interesting because Kazuki Takahashi, the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh!, the original manga, originally just wanted the whole thing to be about different games that Yugi was playing to defeat his enemies. So it was less a battle manga, like it had like battle and like magical elements, but it was all about like overcoming with wit and strategy and stuff like that. And then one issue featured a card game called Magic and Wizards that was obviously supposed to be an homage to Magic the Gathering. It's also the first appearance of Seto Kaiba. And a similar story to the first episode of Season 1 in the manga, or the anime. And Yugi beats Kaiba, of course. But there was so much there was so much of an interest in that particular card game that Takahashi shifted gears and was like, all right, well, maybe we can make this manga about this card game. And he did. And that is how Yu-Gi-Oh! Was born. And he just redid the whole concept because there were other issues after the card game issue. That he also met Mokuba in the original Season 0 of the manga. They played a game called Capsule Monsters, where they Capsule Monsters chess, which also kind of had like a thing that they were trying to do. I'm using Dragon Fang now, my next code. They're trying to do like a thing, try to do a thing with that too. Never really took off. But yeah, and there was also a Dungeons and Dragons themed episode with Yami Bakura. So, yep, it was just straight up supposed to be about games, but fans wanted to know more about the Magic and Wizards game, and they wanted to actually be able to play it. So Konami, who I believe was either the publisher or they just were the ones who bought the the rights to the card game or whatever, they were like, you know, all right, we'll make a real card game. And I think Kazuki Takahashi did the initial, or like was involved for like the initial rules making, but after that I don't think he has anything to do with it. He just did the show and then that's it. But I don't know. And it became very popular here in the West. And that kind of sealed its fate. Yeah, well, Konami's a very stupid company. They, obviously what they did with Metal Gear Solid and Hideo Kojima and canceling Silent Hills, that was really the straw that kind of broke the camel's back. Which, if you don't know that story, there was a demo on PS4 called PT. It's infamous around the internet for a while. PT was a horror game, and if you completed it, it turned out that it was a trailer for a Silent Hill game called Silent Hills, directed by Hideo Kojima and starring Norman Reedus. And Konami, being the brilliant company that they are, said, you know what? We're not going to make this game. Despite the fact that the trailer that they created was so hyped that people could not wait for this game. People literally would replay the trailer for this game. And they were so hyped for it. But Konami was just like, you know what? We don't really want to make video games anymore. We want to focus on other things. So we're not making Silent Hills. We're scrapping the project. And, yeah. Suck on that, Kojima. And Kojima said, okay, fine. I'm your biggest auteur. I know, or I made all of your biggest hits pretty much. So I'm gonna take my ball and go home. I'm gonna make Metal Gear Solid 5. That'll be the last game that I make for you. And after that, we part ways. And I'm gonna make my own game company with blackjack and hookers. And he did. Kojima Productions, and they've made some pretty good stuff. Death Stranding is what Silent Hills became. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I think what could happen with Kojima making enough money like that, or making a ton of money, I don't know if he would buy Metal Gear Solid from Konami. But I think enough time has passed, and honestly, I think that Konami realized the error of its ways, because the games that they've been producing recently, like the Silent Hill games, the Silent Hill 2 remake and Silent Hill F, these games have actually been doing quite well for them. And they also made a lot of money off of the Metal Gear Solid collections on PC. And they're releasing Metal Gear Solid Delta, which is a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3. So what I could see them doing, honestly, is I could see them swallowing their pride and saying, okay, Mr. Kojima, we will work with your production company, and we will make a new Metal Gear, or we will, like, do something like that. I could see that happening. But Kojima isn't going to just, like, go back to making Metal Gear. He wants to make the kinds of games that he wants to make. And with Kojima Productions, he's able to do that. Yeah, I think a lot of people want another Metal Gear Revengeance. I mean, it was kind of the sleeper hit in the series. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know what I would like to see from a new Metal Gear. I mean, I'm just glad that they finally... I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet, but I know that they released in the collections, they finally released Metal Gear Solid 4 on PC, and on a platform that's not the PlayStation 3. I never played Metal Gear Solid 4 because I never owned a PS3. I played every other Metal Gear except for 5. I haven't played 5 either. I have 5 on my computer. I just never have gotten a chance to play it. I love Metal Gear 1, 2, and 3. Another thing that I'd love to see is like if Kojima did ever work with Konami again, I would love to just see what Silent Hills was supposed to be. You know, they don't even necessarily have to make the game, but just tell me what it was gonna be. You know, what did I miss out on? What did their hubris cost me? That is true. Anything can happen. Yeah, well, it was developed by Platinum. So, I mean, Platinum is known for like their fighting games and stuff. So, not fighting games, like hack and slashers, I guess you call it. Bayonetta was like their big claim to fame. Or am I thinking of someone else? No, I think it was Bayonetta that I'm thinking of. They also did Nier Automata. Not Automata. Yes, Automata, not Replicant. Which, that's a game that I very much enjoyed. Yeah, Platinum sold Bayonetta to Nintendo. Which, I mean, okay, interesting move, but at this point, I think Nintendo is becoming infamous as a company that has a dearth of IP that people instantly recognize, but they barely ever use them or make any games with them. They did not make the original Nier. They made Nier Automata. I think they may have touched Nier Replicant, which was the remake of the original Nier. And the first Nier, I don't think they had anything to do with. I can find out real quick. I just have to look on my handy dandy machine. Nier Replicant. Nier Replicant. I play the crap out of this game. I unlocked 40 out of 47 achievements. No, this was Replicant was. It looks like it was just Square Enix and Toy Logic. Yeah, it was developed by Square Enix and Toy Logic. And Toy Logic handled like the remake stuff, I want to say. And then Square published them. And then the original Nier actually have my my copy right here that I purchased from a Blockbuster that I used to work at. Yeah, this one, the original Nier was just the original Nier was just developed by Square Enix. Fun story about Nier. Originally, in the original release of the game, there were two versions of the protagonist. There was a young protagonist and an old protagonist. The young one was the sister of the person or was the brother of the person you're supposed to save throughout the course of the game. And the old version was the father. There wasn't anything fundamentally different besides aesthetics, but in Japan, the PlayStation 3 version of Nier was the young protagonist, and the Xbox 360 version was the old protagonist. Oh, well, I'll wait then. I'll wait to give more lore on Nier. But thank you for the money. I'll just paint. That's what I'm supposed to be doing on the stream anyway. I'm just running my damn mouth about stuff constantly. Okay, let me know when you're back though. Like you can hear me. If you're in an ad, you can't. But if you can hear that, then I'll wait to dispense my knowledge. Okay. When the Green Wizard returns, I'll drop some Nier knowledge bombs on you. Excellent. So, back to what I was saying. So, the original release of Nier, the first game, not Nier Automata, had two versions. One with a young protagonist and one with an old protagonist. Your primary thing that you were trying to do in Nier is save Yona, who is the sister of the young protagonist and the daughter of the old protagonist in the terms of the story of the game. So that was that was how it was in Japan. And in Japan, if you purchased the PlayStation 3 version of Nier, then you got to play as the young protagonist. If you purchased the Xbox 360 version of Nier, then you played as the old protagonist. But that was not the case in America. In America, in both the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 releases, we just got the old man Nier. For some reason, Square Enix thought that Western audiences would prefer to play as the older guy than the younger guy. But when they remade the game in a few years ago, and they remade it for Near Replicant version, some long string of numbers, and they remade the game, they used only the younger brother, or the younger Nier as the model. And you could no longer play as old man Nier. But that means that the only way you can play the game as old father Nier throughout the entirety of the game now is to own the original Nier for Xbox 360 in Japan or the American version of Nier. Which is kind of funny to me. Unless they've added DLC in recent years, I don't think there was ever a plan to do that. Yeah, nope, don't think so. I'm looking at it now, so I don't see anything. Nope, just soundtracks. That's all you can get from Nier Replicant. So there you go. I just think that's really funny. But another really funny thing about that is that American audiences actually could play as the younger version of Nier. And the only way to do it was there was a DLC that was released for the game that you played as the opposite version to whatever version that you were playing. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know. I haven't played too much of Nier Automata. That is a game that I need to go back to. But yeah, I got all the endings for Nier Replicant, and I don't remember what achievements I'm missing. But I played the crap out of that game when it came out because I played the original Xbox 360 version, and I had such a hard time with the controls that I didn't get very far. At least I don't remember getting very far. Because the camera was not kind to you in that game. It's not very kind to you in Replicant either, but it's not as bad. And also, Replicant also added a whole new ending. So I'm pretty sure it takes place thousands of years before the events of Automata. It's something to do with the true ending. Interesting. Yoko Taro is another one of those game makers that is just so crazy that I love. I mean, like Hideo Kojima and Yoko Taro are two completely different game makers, but Yoko Taro is hilarious because there's like lore for Nier Automata that was in like a play that you could only see if it was in Japan. And also like the whole like Nier timeline is rooted in one of the endings for I think it was Drakengard. I think that's the name of the game. I know it's called Dragon Dragoon in Japan, but I think it's called Drakengard here. But like, you know, spoilers for that game, but it's about riding a dragon. And in one of the endings, whilst fighting the final boss, they get sent to your character and their dragon get sent to the real world, and they fight the final boss there, beat it, and then get shot down by fighter planes. And apparently that's what causes the apocalypse in Nier. Because there's like, and it's like the reason why we know that is because there's there are like text logs that you can read that's talked about like a day where, like, you know, a dragon fell from the sky. So, yeah, there you go. Some lore tidbits from Nier. Some more water on brush. This is starting to dry out a little bit. Thank you. Yeah, they're coming together. But it's starting to get late, so I'm gonna need to dip out soon. I have a dental appointment tomorrow. Thrill of thrills. I've been getting to bed pretty late these past few nights. I'm gonna have to start waking up early again because my wife is getting off maternity leave next week, and that means that she's go to work, so I have to be up and about before she needs to leave so that I can take care of the children and take my oldest one to daycare. So honestly, I should be training myself to go to sleep earlier. I mean, that's one way to look at it. Thank you. Yeah, it's just a cleaning. I'm just getting my teeth cleaned. Just a normal, pre-scheduled teeth cleaning. Yeah, I think we're gonna get this color on there, and I'm probably gonna call it for the night. To go to what you were saying, Green, about the protagonist in Nier Automata not being 100% trustworthy, that's true. But this is a common thing in both of the Nier games, is that you are, the reason why they're not reliable is not intentional. They just don't have all the information. They don't know, and you don't know certain things. So I'm not going to spoil anything. All right. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That was quite productive. I would say these guys are like 98% done. Oh, excuse me. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's what we got done so far. All right, so we got these two gentlemen. They're about, I would say they're 98% done. We got their eyes, we got their teeth, we got their barnacles, we got their claws. I probably would put one more highlight on the claws and the teeth, but the barnacles and the fins and the eyes, they're all done. Yeah, I'm hoping that the Fishmen will be finished next time too. I wanted to finish them tonight, but it just wasn't in the cards. Green ones are the same. We're good there. red ones. We're good. And then finally, these guys right here. Our disgusting boys. But you can't see one of them. We'll just move these guys inside. Because I'm covering up the other one. Our disgusting boys. So, thank you, Klaus. I appreciate that. I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. These guys are actually closer to being done than these other ones. Because they have weapons. Damn. And now I start yawning. But they have their Fishmen spears. These guys don't have any weapons. All I gotta do on these guys is once I get their teeth and claws done, it's just their little like loincloth things there. And I'm probably not gonna go too wild with those because it looks like they're all tattered. They got ropes and shit on it. It's pretty crazy. But with these Fishmen, I have their spears left to do. I got their little loincloths left to do. They also have these little emblems on their belt that you probably can't see to do. But then also, as you may or may not remember, they also have starfish on their shoulders that I need to do. So that'll be fun. So these guys are going to take a little bit more extra loving. These guys got all their loving tonight because they got all their barnacles done. That was their big thing, is all these friggin' barnacles, man. But I honestly think they look fantastic. I think they came out really nice looking. And it really makes the model pop. And I'm pretty proud of these. Bioluminescent blue. Yeah. The problem is, and you can't see in there, green. They don't have tongues. It's literally just smooth. Which is sad. If they had a nicely modeled tongue, I'd love to do something with that. But it's just smooth. So I really don't want to attract any attention to it. Just like, I probably will end up just going and painting it black so that people don't look on the inside. Yeah, all of their mouths are like that. That's not focusing, but yeah, all their mouths are just smooth on the inside. And honestly, looking at their teeth, it's kind of funny. You can't see it because I have to it's a very awkward angle to hold it up at. The teeth are molded so that they go all the way back, which is unfortunate because it looks like they've got baleen, like whales, filter feed. Kind of makes them look a little goofy, but they're fishmen, not whalemen. Okay, well, my body heard me talk about going to bed. So it said, okay, then. That means you're going to bed now, right? So let's take a little trip over here. Whew. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to play my exit song. All right. Yep, I'm shutting down as well. Whew. Thank you so much for coming out to the stream, guys. I had a lot of fun. It's always nice having everybody coming in and we're talking about nonsense. Sorry, bud. Let me see if there's anybody good to raid out to. Nobody I'm following is raiding out. Or is streaming. Alright, well, I don't see anything really interesting. I mean, like, I'm tired, so I'm not gonna stick around. But yeah, we'll raid out again next time. Probably, maybe Mondays we'll raid and we won't. Peace, love, and all the rest. So, toodaloo.
My grave both wide and deep, put tombstones at my head and feet, and on my breast carve a turtle dove to signify I died of love. Fare thee well, for I must leave thee, do not let the parting grieve thee. Remember that the best of friends must part, must part. Adieu, adieu, kind friends, adieu, adieu, adieu. I can no longer stay with you, I'll hang my harp on a weeping willow tree, and may the world go well with thee.